Hey guys, my name is Jocelyn and I'm a speech therapist, but you might know me by the Petite Speech Geek, either if you follow me on TikTok or if you've seen me on Teachers Pay Teachers. And today is my first YouTube video, so bear with me. But I thought today that I would get into telling you about how I got into making materials and why I started making materials. So stay with me. Back when I started, and not much has changed, there was absolutely no budget for materials. I work in a really large school district. There's a ton of schools. And the only thing that's in the budget for us are testing materials and screening materials. So as you might be aware, that makes things difficult for us. It makes it hard to provide therapy when you have absolutely no materials. And I mean none, right? We had no game closet. We had no closet with articulation materials. Like, I had absolutely nothing when I started. It was literally, here's your job, sink or swim. My office was located in a library, so I started off by using a lot of books for resources because, again, that was all that I had. And they gave me a lot of inspiration. And even to this day, a lot of books give me my inspiration to make my materials. Other resources that I had were just your basic school supplies. So I had construction paper, glue, pencils, coloring crayons, stuff like that. And I use that to my advantage as well. I'm a pretty creative person, so I would try to use the construction paper and make pictures out of it that would go along with stories. I would draw my own articulation cards. One of the big things that I would do, though, is I would print out a lot of black and white pictures offline, and then I would color them in, and then I would laminate them with my own laminator. And that's how I got by for like my first couple of years. I also didn't have a colored printer in the school that I was in. I do now, but for years we didn't have colored printers, so everything was printed in black and white, and I colored it in. But as time went by, I realized that this wasn't going to be enough, and my OCD self had to figure out a way to come up with more materials that were organized and well thought out and that would help my students. And so I started making my own because I couldn't find them anywhere else. Another thing that really helps me when I'm making materials is the fact that I was not that far off from some of the students that I'm working with. I had definitely some learning disabilities growing up. I have ADHD, and it definitely affected me growing up. I wasn't diagnosed until I was an adult. And, I think being one of those kids helps me to understand how my students learn. And my students learn by doing, and they learn by visuals. And so I needed to come up with materials that would reflect that. So how did I start making super cool materials like this core board or my describing sheet or how to answer when and why questions? Well, I started making these on PowerPoint because PowerPoint is my favorite platform to use. It's the one that I'm most comfortable with. I know some people use Canva. I think I might have even used Word for a few, and then I realized that one was a lot harder to use. And so the first step is really figuring out what platform you want to use to make your materials. Obviously, you're using a computer of some sort, so you got to find, again, that one that makes you the most comfortable and the one that you know how to use the most. The next thing I needed to do was figure out where I was going to get my pictures from. I used to just kind of search off the internet and pull pictures from there, but then as I started making more and more materials and my business started to grow, I realized that I can't do that. I have to purchase clip art and start supporting other creators so that they'll support me in return. That's what it's all about. It's about helping other people out. They help you out. You guys support each other. We're all teachers. We're all educators. We're all poor. We're all trying to make a little extra money. So I always try to go on Teachers Pay Teachers and I buy other teachers' clip art. There's some amazing, talented artists out there. And then I also use clip art from, not Symbol Sticks, Smarty Symbols. So a lot of these ones that you can see are by Smarty Symbols. I love their symbols. I think they're very simple and easy to understand, and they're very similar to Symbol Sticks, which are on a lot of our AAC devices. So that's another clip art that I like to use. Now from here, it's all trial and error. So I just would create things and print them out and see if I liked them. And sometimes maybe they were a little too big. Sometimes they were printed a little bit too small. So I'd go back in and I would fix it and I would print it again. I played with margins. I played with color coding, which I looked up and it is a thing. I just got as creative as I could and I made things that I thought would genuinely help my students. Now, I was on Teachers Pay Teachers for a very long time before I started really making any kind of money on there. A few years, probably even longer than that. When I got onto TikTok and I really started putting out videos and showing people how I use my own resources in everyday therapy sessions, that's when I really started to sell my products and really see a big difference by really putting myself out there. I want you to know though that the goal here in the beginning when I started to make these resources was never to make money. I started making them because I had to. I didn't have any resources, and I have always been the type that if I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it at 110%. So I'm not just going to be a speech therapist. I'm going to be the best one that I can be. I'm not just going to be a basketball player. I'm going to be the best basketball player. I'm not just going to be, an artist. I'm going to be the best artist. Like, that's just my mindset. And I knew that I couldn't do that unless I had the resources to do it. And the only way I could do that was to make them. So when I started making these, again, my goal were my students. I needed to help them. I wanted to find ways to meet their goals and to target their goals that were appropriate. And I wanted them to have fun doing it. And that was my motivation in starting to make my resources. Now, I not only make resources, but I also sell them, and I do pretty well selling them. And again, it took me a long time to get to that point. But now that I'm here, I'm ridiculously grateful, and not just because, I am growing a business, because yeah, we all like to make money, right? Like, that's obvious, right? But do you know what's better than that? Helping people. It's like a high that I can't even explain. When I get a review on my store page that tells me this helped my child, or this helped a student, or my kids loved doing your activity because it was so fun and they learned X, Y, and Z, like, that's what it's about for me. I like making money. I like making materials. I'm creative, but the best thing about this is helping other people and helping other kids. Helping kids. That's what it's about. I mean, can you name something better? Because I certainly can't. But that is why I started making resources. That's how I started making resources. If you guys are interested in more, I would love to know about it. I really want to use my platform to not only show you how I actually make specific materials, but also how I use them. I'd like to show you guys some full lessons. So if you're interested, hit that like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys soon. Bye.